Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We are so excited to be back. We'll introduce ourselves in a second, but it's been a little while, I think, since both of us have been able to join you guys and talk a little bit about some of these big projects that are seemingly on the brain of so many of us residents in Orange County. So without further ado, I'm Jana Parr.
I'm Robert Jobs. Nice to see everybody.
We are both Pointe design consultants. And just to get the elephant out of the room, since you haven't seen me in quite a few months, I did end up getting some really amazing braces on the inside of my teeth, giving me this really awkward slur. So bear with me. I apologize if you can't understand, and Robert will help translate if necessary.
Yes.
So who are we as far as a company? Why listen to us?
We are a design build firm, so we do operate a little different than just a regular GC. We do specialize in kitchens, bathrooms, whole home additions, which we're talking about additions today. We've been serving Orange County since 1986, which is amazing. And about half our business comes from repeat and referral clients, which is also a really good indicator of a quality company.
That's why we work here.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we like it. So what is design build? A lot of people ask that. Design build means that we do all the designing up front as opposed to making decisions as we go in the process. This actually helps speed up the process because we've made the decisions before we start. That way, in construction, we're not slowing things down to make decisions on the fly or contemplate what we're doing. We already know. Where to add space? Pretty much you can do it anywhere you want. You can go up, you can go out. We'll talk about that. We'll touch on that in a few moments. We also have to talk about city regulations, structural design and planning, and the budget options.
Fun budget conversation.
Yes. So we always like to set realistic expectations. Again, there's a process that has to be completed before a project starts, before you can even break ground.
So timelines, budget, you want to make sure that you give yourself plenty of both and bring some patience, because in the planning phase, we do have to do due diligence with your city. We'll get into it, but regarding, what can be done as far as your specific lot goes, your specific structure, all the planning of that, the pricing of that, and the upfront part probably takes even more time occasionally than the real build itself, but it's so important that you set that aside.
It's also so important so that you get what you want out of it. Don't rush the process so that you get the project you ultimately are looking for.
So important.
Absolutely. Excuse me. So there are different project options. There's obviously do it yourself. Some people are handy, some people have the time, and they just want to do it themselves. They've got maybe family members or whatnot. So we call it DIY, do it yourself. The other is working with a contractor. Working with a contractor, they will do the work for you, but they tend not to do the design or the procurement of materials. There's a lot of aspects that some contractors don't touch on, whereas we are a design build. Like I said, design build does work a little bit differently.
So you do have a lot of options. Can I first and foremost say that if you are planning a room addition, I wouldn't go the DIY route. No matter how handy you are, unless you are a licensed contractor, please don't hear from us that is okay to do. You definitely need somebody that's licensed, that knows structural, and has that breadth of experience. So I would say with an addition, there are pretty much two options. You can work with an independent contractor, a GC, that might have a small team. He could have a dog in his truck, and then they hire subcontractors. On the other side of that, though, he's not an engineer, or she's probably not an architect. They likely don't like to be interior designers, and they're going to say, what's going here, what's going there. You, sir, Mr. Homeowner or Mrs. Homeowner, need to select that and find it and source it, and then you just tell me where to put it, which really leaves you as the middle. So when you're working with a general contractor, you also, in a sense, become the general contractor, because now you have to coordinate an architect, an engineer. They're completely separate entities, typically. If you have a space that could be a bit more complicated, as tiling, cabinetry especially, you're going to need an interior designer or some form of that cabinet designer. You know, a lot of you out there are really savvy with color selections, and that's great, but who's going to build your cabinets? Structural engineer, very important in this project. They are so critical to a room addition or anything actually being built from the ground up or on top of a home. And then, of course, the material purchasing. So if you find a tile online, wonderful, it's beautiful, but you yourself are likely going to be responsible to figure out how much you need, what trim pieces are going where, if the tile comes with trim, if it's rated for that area, is it outdoor, is it indoor, is it shower rated? There are a lot of different things to know about tiling, flooring, countertops, etc. So working with a contractor seems typically like a slightly less expensive option in the beginning, but once you get to the end and realize not everything was cohesive, 9 times out of 10, we find out from clients that may have gone the other direction the first time in this direction, it costs them more than what we had anticipated, and then it costs them time and stress. So a big endeavor, you know, more so than just retiling a fireplace.
Absolutely.
So in working with Pointe, we kind of take on all of that headache for you. We're one source of accountability. We get to work with our architect and constructioneer in one space behind the scenes. There's no finger pointing. This didn't work out. That didn't work out. Now it's someone else's fault. And we get to grab hold of not only the responsibility, but your budget as well. So we're not going to design something that is going to be way outside of your budget. We get to keep your budget in mind and price as we go to make sure we build responsibly to your resources. And with that, you get a design consultant that puts this project and helps you make choices, puts it together and helps you make choices all the way through. And then in construction, you have a designated project manager that is going to take full responsibility of the scheduling and everything behind the scenes of construction that is going to come up. You don't have to wonder, you know, so-and-so didn't show up today or they're coming back in 3 weeks. Our project manager really just takes the bull by the horns and makes the construction phase very seamless when it comes to scheduling and issues that may come up. We handle all of the material procurement and delivery, as well as, you know, your structural engineer, architect, and designer are going to be there from beginning to end throughout the entire project. So if you were to hire a designer, let's say you're adding on a kitchen, you hire a kitchen designer, does not know construction, you pay them for the hours up front. 9 months go by, you're building, and now you have to set a whole new retainer for his or her time to come out and help you through the project. So we already said we're very, very full service, design build. We are a team. You get a huge force behind you and one point of accountability. And also it's one building here. So when we're making design decisions, we're talking about contracts and going through plans. We get to come to an office, sit at a table, and there's always a very comfortable space for you here at Pointe. So before we forget, if you are interested in an addition or just maybe a little powder bath update, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at any time. We offer complimentary design consultations in your home, and just drop your name and phone number in the chat box whenever you'd like.
So some things to think about when you're choosing a contractor that's right for you.
Oh, sorry.
All right, that's okay. You want to think about liability, the property, workers are bonded, workers' compensation. These are all things that, you know, you want to make sure that whoever you work with, which we are, we're all liable. Property, we're bonded, we have workers' compensation insurance. It's actually all available on that website, www.cslv.ca.gov. It's got all the information that you need there. You want to make sure that people have the correct licenses. So you want to make sure that whoever's doing the framing is licensed to do that. They're not licensed just to do tile work. There's different things for different aspects of construction. So you want to make sure that's the correct licenses for what project is being done. There's general, there's specialty, and there's different classifications. Again, it's on that website. You also want to look at references. Pointe is well recognized in a lot of industries, a lot of different companies that do awards and recognition. So we're well respected in that sense. You want to get previous clients as well. Look at portfolios, look at talk to previous clients if you're able to. Some clients will even let you go look at their projects. So if you want to see a previous project that was done, so you just want to make sure it's always fun. Yeah, absolutely. And then yeah, so small business of our rate. This is actually an interesting slide that we have here. We've been around since 1986, and nearly construction, 36% of businesses fail after 5 years. So you can see the little arrow for when a project or company starts to fail. So most of them start pretty well, and then they kind of fall off after 5 years.
Yep, you got to start doing things the right way in order to stay afloat and obviously keep clients happy. And the financial aspect of it is really important. And there are people out there that can get duped by small contractors in the past, where you think you can trust someone and they take your money up front and then, you know, bail to another country or something. You never know. They just get out of Dodge, and then they're not there to finish the project or come back if there's a problem. So you do want to choose someone to partner with that's going to be around, that offers you warranty.
Yeah.
By law, there's 1 year, but
so we have a 5-year warranty. So that kind of plays back to the previous slide where most companies fail after 5 years. Well, we offer a 5-year warranty on our labor and installation, which is highly unusual. Most companies only offer 1. Yeah.
So another phase in this planning are the city permitting and HOA approvals that you'll need for an addition. And sometimes just a kitchen remodel that you might be changing a window. Regardless, you have to have usually some structural engineering involved. So at the same time, what we like to do during the permitting phase is put together an HOA packet for the homeowner. The homeowner goes to the homeowners association meeting, and we give you that full packet for submittal that they can approve. So your homeowners association, a lot of them are very picky around here in Orange County, you'll need a very thorough architectural deck to show them exactly what materials, stone, brick, tile roof, all those details need to be very meticulously laid out in a plan in order for it to be passed. So once we have the approvals of the HOA, there are lead and asbestos testing mandates now in the state of California. That is done in advance so that we know ahead of time what demolition costs might be. And we're not going to just assume there's no asbestos. We're just going to get in there, make sure there is or isn't, and plan accordingly, because that could eat up a portion of your budget that you weren't expecting. And that way, you know, we plan on that from the beginning instead of choosing a gold-plated faucet that you now can't have because you have to abate asbestos.
True.
So let's see, when you are designing a room addition, a lot of us just think, I need more space. I hear all the time, I need more storage, or I need a place for my kids to hang out. They're teenagers. Yes, we don't have as many bathrooms as we need, or my mother-in-law needs to move in. So many reasons. So you really want to consider, what will that space be used for? And at that point, you know, where am I going to put that space? So a lot of times, people have, like in the picture on the left, they had a garage that had nothing over it. So they decided to go up because their backyard was already beautifully done and there wasn't enough space back there. So you could go upstairs, downstairs, the picture on the right, they built out in front of their home. So up, out, all the way around, we can help you determine, depending on the need of the space, what might be the best solution for that, and if it can be done. Because setbacks and lot lines and percentage of lot coverage is something that not everyone knows about or expects to have to deal with. So if your home is already taking up most of your lot, sometimes you can't build out, you have to go up. So that
being said, sometimes it also depends, even going up, there's a certain square footage of house you can have on a certain size lot. So even if you're taking up the full amount that you can percentage wise of the space, the square footage sometimes can also be an issue that we have to think about.
Yes,
not
absolutely.
common, but it can come up.
Irvine is very common because the newer developments in Irvine are very stacked together, and that lot coverage is maxed out. So if you live in Irvine, sorry, I grew up here, I love it, but it can be a big pain. So in our design build process, I'll let Robert kind of explain these site plans.
So we always start with the existing condition. So we sort of look at what you currently have. We discuss what needs as you just talked about, what needs do you have? Is it a second bathroom you need? Is it more bedroom space? Things like that. So we start with sort of the current conditions and sort of see what we can do. So with that, we talk about what your possibilities are. So in this scenario, this client wanted to add a new entertainment room, Jack and Jill bathroom. So for those of you who don't know what a Jack and Jill is, it's a bathroom that is shared between two spaces. So typically between two bedrooms, and it's really only accessible from those two rooms, but sometimes it can be accessible from the hall and a bedroom or a hall and something else. So basically it's a bathroom with 2 points of entry. They're just generally known as Jack and Jill's. So
in this existing site plan is the home on your top left there.
Yes.
So that was the final product. Spoiler alert.
And this is where it started.
So this is their lower level. They had a bedroom, a bathroom, and a 1-car garage on their lower level. So if you are adding a bathroom or any type of plumbing, it's always a good idea not to get too crazy with construction and cost, to line up that plumbing wherever it might be sitting in another space of the home.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this was the second story.
Yep. So this is the second floor condition. So this is the area that they wanted to add the new entertainment room and Jack and Jill bathroom. So this was the space before we started the project. They wanted a new space for their family. They wanted a cohesive design despite the HOA. HOAs a lot of times will also dictate what your space has to look like. So if you're doing an addition and you've got an HOA, a lot of times it's architecturally controlled. So it has to blend in the same finishes, the same roofing materials, window coloring, things like that. Sometimes it's architecture details, balconies, lighting fixtures, things like that. So we take all that into account, and the age of the home. You also have to think, is the home, how old is it? A lot of older homes, there's more hidden problems within the walls. So we start with structural engineering. I'll let you touch on this one.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
So a challenge about going up also that can be a surprise to folks that haven't been through construction. Your home is built to hold a certain amount of weight on the top. So a lower level, in this instance, it was the bedroom and the garage was built, the sticks around it were built to hold the roof line. It was not meant to hold the weight of a full second story. So in most second story additions, we actually end up having to pretty much tear down or, get close to tearing down the existing first floor structure, reinforcing that or rebuilding it to be able to support the load of a second story. So these were giant fit a Volkswagen in it pad footings that went all the way around the space to be able to support now the first floor and the second floor.
So when you're renovating, you're doing an addition on the second floor, you're ultimately also renovating what's directly below it too. So that's something to keep in mind.
So we have a framing plan with that. This is like kind of indicating where all the floor joists are, where the main structural beams are for all of the floor joists to hang off of. And we've got doors and windows going in. In this phase, you would come in, we would sit down, go through all of the plans, explore exactly how big the windows are, choose the style of the windows, the doors, etc. So there's a lot to consider because there are so many choices out there, which affect pricing, which I know you're also curious about. So yeah, lots of options.
Then there's the proposed second floor plan. So this is after we've done all the designing, all the structural engineering, sort of what the space is ultimately going to look like. So we can start playing around with that a bit. And then the roofing plan. So obviously we need to cap all this off. So we also have to think how we're going to tie in the roof line. Again, make it look cohesive and make it look intentional. We have to think of slopes, angles, all those sort of fun aspects to make sure the home looks right. Which gives us section views as well. We also take care of all that. This is all needed for permitting, architectural review. It's also meant for the installers, the actual construction crew who's going to build this. Again, the elevations, what it's going to look like when it's all done. So they wanted a very symmetrical look on their house. We provide all the elevations of all the sides because your HOA is going to need this as well. And then we start moving inside the house. the fun part.
For us.
For us, yeah.
It depends on who you are.
Sure.
But so this is a peek at the Jack and Jill bathroom. It's got a double vanity with a window in the middle, giving them lots of natural light coming in, and also probably something to do with the cohesiveness on the outside of the building and where the windows go. So I don't know if you've ever been through the neighborhood that maybe doesn't have as strict of an HOA and notice like, what have they done? It's just this like box with like zero design detail, windows, doors, like we're not considered. So we like to consider the outside with the inside. But putting a window in the middle of your vanity isn't always ideal or common, but we figure out a configuration that would work and give them plenty of storage and also just a beautiful aesthetic.
Yeah.
So not only do we need cabinet plans, we need utility plans. We have to turn these in, but it's also really important for you as a homeowner to know, where is my convenient hallway switch going to go? How many lights is it going to turn on before I have to walk down the hall and turn on my next one? All those placements are really helpful to have a designer and an architect, on your team to go through these things with you and not be surprised that you have to now walk in the dark from point A to point Z to turn on the lights and so forth. So careful planning of that is very important. And then also a reminder, I hear almost every day, I have a window in my bathroom, I don't need a fan. Well, that changed probably in the 90s. And so we must have a moisture exhaust fan in every space that has a shower or toilet. So if it's all together, you need one. If they're separated, you need one for each space. So there's a few little icons in there that represent a fan. Ooh, the fun part.
The fun part is when you actually start seeing it. We provide the color renderings. I'll let you touch on this.
Yeah, so this is just a view without any heavy materials on the outside, so they can really envision what the doors and windows are going to look like and the symmetry of everything from the outside. And then start to imagine what other like decorative stonework they might be able to apply to the building. So we have 2D renderings, 3D renderings, and we also have the option, if you'd like to upgrade to those full 3D walkthroughs. That software is really amazing, and we have someone on staff that can provide that for you. A few more images. And then the inside of the bathroom and a few more spaces. So this is the shower view.
This is something that we're noticing a lot more people are starting to think about for their shower areas. A lot of people have the diverter and the controller right underneath the shower faucet, but we're finding the trend now is a lot of people, if they have a pony wall or somewhere else to reposition it, they're starting to do that. And the advantage of that is you can turn it on before stepping in the shower, so you don't have to get that cold blast of water. It also kind of keeps the wall where the shower head is a lot cleaner looking, because in this case it's tucked around the corner. So just different design details. Provides
a little privacy from the toilet, and then a lot of clients are just requesting that they can have a full shower door instead of the bypass sliders. So the bypass sliders allow you to just stick a hand in, and you can turn on the water from the same wall as a shower head. When we have a door request, then something has to be pulled out, and you don't want to have to walk all the way in your shower, get your head wet before you prepare. So this does eliminate a lot of headache. For perspective,
exterior materials.
So these are questions your HOA is likely going to ask. They want to know the details. Okay, this is your material of your pavers, but are they just going to be thrown about? Are they going to be like subway offset? Is this going to be a French pattern? So in our architectural phase, it's not only important for your HOA, but you should also know and be aware exactly, how these are going to look and be laid out. So we have other specifications like roofing materials, railings, beams, again, doors and windows, flooring, like stone facades and things like that. So
sometimes even light fixtures.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Lighting fixtures.
Especially at least the placement of them, but some HOAs are very particular about the style as well.
Then we switch into the interior specifications. So we start narrowing down cabinetry, countertops, tiles, lighting fixtures, plumbing fixtures, pretty much anything that's going to be on the interior space. We start narrowing those down as well. So we got some photos of the poster model for this one as well. They've got the nice beams across the ceiling, some pendant lighting, nice wood trims around the windows, hardwood flooring, barn doors. This is their entertainment room. Wanted a bold light fixture, and again carrying the beams throughout the rest of the home.
And
Barn doors.
sometimes they're just decorative, and then sometimes we can wrap a structural beam in more decorative lumber to create that look. And again, sometimes they're hollow.
Yeah.
You'll never know.
You'll never know. So this is that window in that bathroom. So the black and whites, it looks a little bit unusual, but again, we tie it in with the same woods that we're using in the doors and make it look intentional. It actually doesn't look like something that had to be there for the outside. That's where we come in. How do we make this blend cohesively with the interior space?
Yeah.
A couple more pictures of their shower. And then the final outdoor. So they went with a bit more of a symmetrical pattern.
The
So
tree.
nice balance of the tree. Yeah.
And they changed the railings. So they had a very kind of Grecian, Roman looking balcony railing at first, and they wanted to streamline that, make it more minimalistic. I'm